Alright. We have been out of luck on time to stream for this one.
True. But that's okay. That's the whole reason we started doing 2 times a week in the first place.
It's true. The typhoon really did hit. And
The
we're
typhoon
stuck.
really did say, you guys wanted to do 2 times a week now? No.
There we
I
go.
don't think so.
No.
Back to your original schedule now of 1 time a week for only 2 hours.
Forever. No.
Forever. Audio
What?
check.
Whew.
Okay, we both sound fine. Which
Excellent.
I know you know, but the people on the stream might not know. I'm back at a different location now, which is the original location. So my audio might sound just a little bit different because the room has changed. But that's why. But we're here.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah, no, he's always in the same place. Wait. I just saw something. I'm sorry. Wait.
What? What'd you see?
Was this in red in questions? When you would like hover over one of these?
I don't remember.
It's not too big a deal because the reason it's red is because like that's the game. But but like I don't know. I just saw the red briefly and I was like, what is that?
It wouldn't be surprising for them to hide something like that.
I mean, they did with 556.
True. I forgot we got the beat. The beat's here.
The beat is here and the creature is here.
So, what happened last time?
A lot of setup.
I'm trying to recall.
More Natsuhi setup.
Yeah. Obviously, they were like, somebody's crash landed. We gotta help them. Are they okay?
Yeah, that was
maybe
like
it's
the
a
last.
ploy by grandfather.
That was like the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember what else happened.
Everything before that was a lot of Battler is like, man, it sucks that Beatrice is brain dead. I wonder what I can do to fix that. And then Bernkastel coming in and being like, you idiot. This is the best thing that could have possibly happened to you and you're squandering it. And
we were in 1985 for a minute too, right?
Yes, we were briefly in 1985 for the first year that Natsuhi and Kraus faked Kinzo's death, and they were like, "Oh, it went perfectly," except Hideyoshi caught on a little bit and got suspicious. So this year now, they're like really having to batten down the hatches, right? Back in 1986, and we have this lovely little lady that has shown up who was really funny. I remember last episode, I was like, oh, so it's Bernkastel's self-insert, and you were like, I don't know, we'll find out. And then we went into the tips, and it just said Bernkastel's human piece on the board, and we were both like, oh.
Yep. Oh, okay. Well, why don't we continue on and see what happens from here? I suppose.
Yeah. What was before this? Because that's kind of a... Okay, it was you. It was Erika talking, and then this was greeted by an impressed sigh arising equally from all corners of the room. I believe I already read this, actually. I don't know why I'm remembering that I read this, but I did. The clothes she had been lent were probably Jessica's formal wear from long ago. But the composure of her introduction didn't shame those clothes in the slightest. This girl's name was Furudo Erika. She looked slightly younger than Battler and Jessica, but her composure and mannerisms were beyond what anyone would have expected from a high schooler, almost as though she was a well-to-do family's daughter.
That was fast.
Wait a sec. Who the heck is this? With an incompetent like you as the main character piece, the game wouldn't go anywhere. That's why I've placed myself there as a piece.
Well, it's just a bit of a bonus. Even in a closed circle, it'd get boring to see the same crew every single time, right?
Honestly, I was pretty entertained with 4 episodes of the same people. Quit messing around. This piece doesn't exist on Beato's game board. Beato and I won't acknowledge it.
This is Beato's game board, right? If Beato refuses, then I'll consider it. What do you say, Beato?
Jeremy from Phineas and Ferb, open mouth sleeping with milk carton.
What?
It's okay. You have to see it to understand what I'm saying.
Was a deep cut.
You have to see it to understand what I'm saying. You would get it. You would get it if you knew what I was talking about. Beato was unable to answer. Lambdadelta grinned triumphantly.
Want to try complaining about the rules and stepping down from the game? Isn't that a favorite move of you mystery people? If there's even a tiny element that goes against your expectations, you throw a tantrum and totally stop thinking.
Lambda, I really think you need to not be arguing against Battler to get rid of this piece right now. I don't think it's going to go the way you think it's going to go if she stays around. Ugh.
Don't worry. I'll make a detective proclamation regarding this piece.
A detective proclamation? More rules.
I proclaim that Furudo Erika is the detective.
Yo, I'm innocent. I'm an innocent guy. Spell innocent backwards.
True.
Erika's the detective. Who's the traitor?
The detective isn't the culprit. No proof is needed to show this. In short, there is absolutely no need to suspect this girl.
It's just like Trouble in Terrorist Town. Or murder. Now, honestly, murder would be more applicable in this case.
Yeah.
Even if she appears as a human piece from now on, you can build theories the same way as you always did. Get it?
That's Nox's 7th, right?
Yeah, it's Nox's 7th. It's Nox's 7th.
That's Nox's 7th. It is forbidden for the detective to be the culprit.
Don't you know that, Battler? Don't you know that already, Battler?
There is an exception clause in the original, but for this game, the detective isn't a culprit. Has been proclaimed in red, so you don't need to consider the exception. I hate word games, so I'll say this in red too. Furudo Erika is not the culprit.
Repeat it. Furudo Erika had no influence on any of Beato's games before now.
Sure, no prob. Furudo Erika had no influence on any of Beato's games before now. She's nothing more than an extra character who appears for the first time this round. She does not exist in the worlds before this one, nor does she influence them.
So, what does that do to the number of people on this island right now?
Of course, it's +1 from the previous number. I like that she doesn't say what the number is.
Yeah.
But don't worry. Furudo Erika only increases it by 1 person. Besides her, the number of people on this island is exactly the same as it was in the previous games. Which also doesn't confirm it.
Yep.
I love that.
At the same time, or at that time, the sound of people dashing down a corridor could be heard. It was Battler, George, and Jessica, who had come from the guest house after being called here by Ava. They immediately spotted a guest they didn't recognize, and their eyes went wide. Whoa. Who are you?
Oh, a guest! She came by falling!
Great job, Maria. Your first job was not to mention that to Battler.
True. That's literally what she got told. Huh? Fall?
Genji-san, who is this person?
This is a guest, Furudo Erika-sama. Furudo-sama. This is the daughter of the family, Jessica-sama, along with her cousins George-sama and Battler-sama.
Nice to meet you. I'm Ushiromiya Jessica.
Hello, my name is Furudo Erika. I'm very pleased to meet you.
Though Battler, George, and Jessica didn't have a clue what was going on and were utterly bewildered, they each introduced themselves.
Wow.
Isn't that convenient? This way, the number of people is clear. The people in the guest house have joined up with the rest, and now all of the pieces except for Kenzo, all of the humans, have gathered in the parlor.
Looks like it. In other words, the number of people in this parlor now is equal to the total number of people on this island.
I'm trying to think of the loophole in that statement. There were supposedly 18 people on the island, but since Grandfather's actually dead, that became 17. And now one piece of Bernkastel's has been added. The number of the humans on this island has returned to 18. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is you.
I'm actually not sure.
I'll just read it for now until we figure out. I glanced around at the humans in the parlor. Okay, it's not you.
Okay.
The guest, Furudo Erika.
I'm thinking it must have been Game Piece Battler, and so he said, I.
Oh, okay, got it.
Mhm.
And behind her, Kumasawa-san and Shannon-chan. Off to the side was Genji-san. Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi were welcoming the guest. Goda-san immediately started showing off, and Kanon-kun was being unsociable, wearing his usual blank expression. There was Dad and Kyrie-san, Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi, Aunt Rosa and Maria, and Dr. Nanjo. Then, on either side of me, were George Aniki and Jessica. This is everyone, the true number of people on the island at the moment.
Well, all of us are Ushiromiyas. Please don't feel obligated to call us by our family name. That would be something. Ushiromiya just killed Ushiromiya and Ushiromiya! I'm George.
And I'm Battler. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much, George-san, Battler-san. I'd be pleased if you would call me Erika.
Nice to meet you, Erika-san.
It was decided that Erika would be welcomed like a guest, and allowed to borrow the bedroom next to the cousin's room on the second floor of the guest house. In front of all the relatives, she had seemed dignified and a bit stiff. However, as she talked with George and Jessica, her expression began to soften gradually. And so, the detective, Furudo Erika, was placed on the game board.
Yeah.
She's here. And it's
Indeed.
too late to get rid of her now.
She just seems like normal. She's just chilling.
Yeah.
She seems like a very normal
Yeah.
person.
Yeah?
I'm surprised Jessica's old clothes suit her so well.
Kumasawa made the decision on her own to use Milady's old clothes. Please forgive her. The clothes Erika wore were Jessica's old formal attire. That's crazy for that to be Jessica's clothes. They're like, it's like making Jessica wear like hot pink when all the other family members wear like dull colors.
I wouldn't be so upset if it weren't for Erika's skirt. Because, like, when you see it here, it doesn't look that bad. But when you go to the tips menu and look at it, look how not long it is.
Yep.
That's what gets me every time I see it. Is I'm
I
like,
don't
that
know.
is
It's
not
kind
that
of
long.
like it's kind of like tucked over and in. Like maybe you could like pull it down.
maybe.
maybe it's sitting up like that.
It's popped up. Yeah.
Oh, that's just a
and
funny
the
image
floral
to me.
leggings.
Just grabbing
The
it and
floral
going
leggings are
poof,
killing me.
and pulling it down.
Yeah. It's a convertible.
Yeah. Though the guest possessed a dignity that would put most adults to shame, her body was still physically similar to a middle schooler's. Okay, you don't gotta... Okay. Jessica's old clothes fit her perfectly. Also, I'm kind of surprised they still have, like, Jessica's middle school clothes.
So I guess what
At
else
this
are you gonna
point.
do with it? Like,
True, they would not give it away to charity. I mean, I guess Anja could initially or eventually have it, but then they probably would just hold on to
Yeah.
it until then, so then that would
Yeah.
make sense. Or Maria or someone like that, but yeah.
yeah.
Not to worry. They match this guest perfectly. If she likes them, we might even let her keep them as a sign of friendship.
Really makes me think what Erika was wearing, or like what is her actual casual wear.
It said she was wearing a swimsuit when she first got
Wow.
here.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if she chose to dress herself for the day, what would she have worn? You know what I'm saying?
Baggy white t-shirt.
You think so?
That's it. Just
I
huge
wonder.
baggy white t-shirt.
Maybe. Maybe.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Have you contacted the police and her family?
Is this where we're gonna get... Oh, no, okay, I thought he was just gonna say the phone lines have been cut. Yes. They seem to have been quite distressed.
By the way, our guest really was involved in an accident, right?
What do you mean by that?
Well, remember she's sus of the,
Oh, that's right.
accusatory voice, who's supposedly her child.
I forgot about that.
She herself... I'm sorry, I mixed Natsuhi and Genji's voice there for a second. She herself said she fell from a boat as it was returning to port.
Is there anything to back up that claim?
I checked with the Coast Guard. It seems she fell from the rear of a pleasure boat, unnoticed by the others on board. Dang. We don't know the exact location she fell from, but it was probably somewhere near this island.
It was foolish to play on a boat with such a bad weather forecast. However, it is really conceivable that she nearly drowned in the nearby waters and drifted to this island?
It is not impossible. Tales of drifters washing ashore exist in several of the islands around this area. I believe it likely that an accident occurred. We're in the middle of a typhoon. It would not be possible to land a boat anywhere on this island. What if it wasn't a boat? Genji had already considered what she now suspected. Also, just based off of what I said like 2 seconds ago, now I'm curious. Have the phone lines actually been out? Ever?
I don't know.
Or was that misinformation that we have been given? Because it was always the servants who were like, the phones are out. Don't try using them. It's useless. No point.
Baby.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Genji had already considered what she now suspected. Natsuhi probably suspected that this mysterious guest, who had arrived during the already high-stress family conference, might be the agent of some conspiracy. Kind of, just not in the way you're thinking. It's an anti-magic conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's a mystery
yeah.
conspiracy.
Genji had already checked to make sure that the accident was real, that Furudo Erika was her real name, and that there was nothing suspicious going on.
I understand. My husband has ordered that she be politely entertained. Make sure that there are no blunders. However, you do understand, don't you?
Yes. I won't let her anywhere near the family conference. After dinner, I will see that she retires to the guest house.
Make sure they don't start trying to force us to let her meet father or anything like that.
Of course. I will keep that in mind.
Wow.
Oh, hi, Beatrice.
Yeah. Oh. Furudo Erika, was it? It's rare for guests to come here to Rokkenjima. Doesn't this look like it'll be interesting?
She's probably Lady Bernkastel's piece. Though she will follow the rules of humans, the player is a witch. We mustn't underestimate her.
There is no problem. Even if she were Lady Bernkastel herself, since she's a human, she's no match for us. After all, we have Gab with us. Humans certainly cannot win against Gab. Thanks. Still, it's not a good idea to overestimate yourself.
Ding, ding, ding.
The definition of a witch doesn't only imply the ability to use magic.
True. A joker in the eye of a typhoon. That is what a witch is.
I'm the only one who gets to call herself a witch on this Rokkenjima. Only I, the Golden Witch and Endless Witch, Beatrice. Let's see how good Lady Bernkastel's next piece after Anje is. I intend to watch very closely.
Not gonna lie, Beatrice, all of Bernkastel's pieces so far have been pretty decent.
Yeah. All one of them.
Maybe you could consider Battler a piece, I don't know.
Oh, he's a piece, alright. That's the end of the chapter. Remember last time I said we're actually really close to the end of the chapter? I was like, this is going by fast. Look at that. That was crazy.
Yeah.
What happened? I'll take it. Let's see. That chapter was called Furudo Erika.
Wow.
Yeah.
Erika's seat was the lowest one in rank. In other words, it was at the inferior end of the table. Since Kenzo's seat at the high end of the table was empty, if you spun the whole thing around, it sort of looked like Erika was the host of this dinner.
Funny you bring that up.
Well then, everyone. I would like to begin tonight's dinner, if I may. After Goda's announcement, dinner began with the applause that had become almost customary. It was finally the beginning of the dinner orchestra conducted by Toshiro Goda. Except for Krause's household, sitting at such a majestic dinner table was no everyday thing for these people by any means. However, they were all used to this event and acted as though it was completely normal. Once again, if anyone was to be surprised, it should have been Erika. And yet, she showed no signs of amazement at this dinner and acted with composure, blending in with everyone else. There wasn't even a sliver of the fear one might expect from someone who hadn't wandered here like a lost puppy. This is crazy if you've never seen anything of her character. Like how they're setting her up.
Yeah.
And then what you get later.
What an odd child. She doesn't seem the least bit flustered by the Ushiromiya family's grandest dinner of the year.
If I remember, she's sitting near Battler.
Yes, closer to Battler than not.
Yeah.
She's situated between, if I remember correctly, Nanjo and... I don't remember who the other one would be. Maria?
I can't remember, because if I remember, it's the siblings.
No,
and
that's
then
right.
their
The spouses.
children.
The spouses are on the... So, Kyrie. Nanjo and Kyrie,
Yeah.
I believe. But she's at,
can't
like,
remember.
from the way they described it, what I'm picturing is that she's at the opposite... She's at the foot of the table instead of the head of the table. So, like,
Yeah.
she is on one bookend of the table, and
She's
that's
close
why it
to
looks
the
like...
bottom.
Yeah, that's why it looks like she's hosting. Is
Mhm.
because without Kenzo being there, it kind of looks like that's the head of the table, right? You know?
Kids these days have nerves of steel. Definitely not something I dislike.
Is Furudo-san used to meals such as this one? She seems to be quite composed.
No kidding. She looks really experienced. Heck, I still get confused about which fork I'm supposed to use next. Wait, is it this one? Or this one?
He's so funny.
Without showing any confusion over the line of utensils in front of her, Erika gracefully ate her hors d'oeuvres. Hideyoshi had started joking around with her, gripping a fork in each hand. He's such an uncle.
Yeah.
Of course, the president of a company in the food service industry like Hideyoshi obviously knew his table manners. However, thinking that Erika must be nervous over this dinner, he had intentionally spoken with a comic tone of voice.
Aha, I found the seating. She sits between Battler and Kyrie,
Oh.
and then Hideyoshi is across from her, and Nanjo is next to Hideyoshi.
Okay.
Yeah. That was Columbius. Okay. You just have to start on the outside and work your way in. If that's a pain, then just ask for some chopsticks. If you're Japanese, you've got to love chopsticks. Chopsticks are so great. Just one pair of those and you can deal with any kind of food.
She's the opposite of Kenzo.
Yes.
She's a weeb. As soon as she began talking about chopsticks, her eyes started glittering. The smile she now showed for the first time was far different from the dignity she'd displayed before. More like something you'd expect from someone her age.
But even you would use a spoon for curry and rice, wouldn't you?
No. There's the face. Just make it a donburi bowl. Is there anyone who eats beef bowls with a spoon? Of course not. For the Japanese, it's absolutely, positively, totally chopsticks. So, Koro-san, would you mind bringing me some chopsticks?
The spirit of Kenzo has arisen. You have truly brought him back from the dead so that he can refuse chopsticks being used in his home.
I want to show everyone how a true Japanese person should eat, without any shame. By the way, what are we eating next?
Unfortunately, that would be soup. As she imitated a shrugging gesture, Erika winked at everyone. Oh, now she's the jokester.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Of course, everyone was laughing at her. No. Of course, no one was laughing at her. She obviously knew that soup came after hors d'oeuvres in a full-course meal. Furthermore, Erika had noticed both that she'd been performing too perfectly and creating a sense of tension, and that Hideyoshi had tried to break the ice because he thought she was nervous. That's why she started acting a little childish and lighthearted, acting out the part of a guest enjoying a harmonious dinner. Pretty soon, not only Kyrie, but everyone else caught on.
We were robbed and also blessed at the same time.
What do you mean? What?
The fact that the anime never got to answer his arc means that we never got this.
Never got. I'm gonna consider it a blessing.
It's both. It's so both for me. I would have loved to hear the voice lines, but oh well.
I mean, I could turn it on if you...
No. It is true. It probably would have been the same voice actor, but anyway.
Though she was an uninvited guest, she was apparently worthy of participating in an Ushiromiya family dinner.
Smart kid. Did she really just come here by coincidence? Don't tell me you secretly called your illegitimate child at today's family conference, Nissan. What a dig!
Natsuhi, profusely sweating. Not
True.
It seems she even has the smarts to brighten the mood. And her manners are simply wonderful. It wouldn't be bad at all to have this girl as a daughter. Dang, in front of Jessica? Bro,
I was gonna say. That's pretty cruel. Where does that leave Jessica-chan?
That's mean, Rudolph Nissan. What's wrong, Jessica-chan?
What do you think, George? What?
Headache?
Her dad just said, man, I wish she was my daughter instead of Jessica.
He is really dense, isn't he?
Yeah, we've been over this several times. That
Yeah.
he's just stupid.
He honestly, he seems more like Krause's kid than Jessica.
I get the feeling my reputation's taking a dive.
Well, if you're the daughter of the head family, you better not let her beat you. Try using those table manners and dignity Aunt Natsuhi's always training you with, and fight back.
I want to see table manners. Woo!
True. Hey, jumping around is bad manners. Come on, Jessica-chan. Show us how it's done.
It's back.
The she's cheesing.
That sprite lives rent-free in my head. I see it at night. I don't know. It's just that it's not even like really funny. It's only mildly funny, so that makes it really funny for me.
if we get to the point where we can have custom emotes for our chat, we need to make that one. And I don't know if you're familiar with like Twitch chat stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know the emote haha, HAHAA?
I think so.
It would be that.
I-
It's used for like when someone makes a really cringy joke, you spam
Oh,
haha.
yeah.
That's it. That's our haha.
Sure, of course.
Jessica straightened up so much it looked like someone had poked her back with a pole.
Oh,
She had good posture, but it somehow lacked elegance. Yeah, that sounds like Jessica. She looked, well, kind of like a triangle ruler.
what?
She sat at attention with her gaze fixed straight ahead, tried to bring the food to her mouth despite this, and failed miserably.
No.
Dad, who was sitting next to her, suddenly realized that something was up.
What's wrong, Jessica-chan? Stomachache?
Jessica turned bright red. Sorry, I can't help myself? I think that was Jessica.
No, it was Battler.
Oh,
Because earlier he said dad.
that's right.
Yeah.
We laughed our heads off. Jessica protested, still bright red. And Nazi scolded us for being too improper. Well, no matter how much we try to smooth it over, who we are. We couldn't pretend any longer. Still, that laugh really did help us to relax. We were so concerned about the guest getting nervous, we'd gotten even more nervous ourselves. Our chatter from the center of this long table spread to both ends. And ultimately, the dinner went even more smoothly than usual. When the killing gonna start?
That's Erika right now.
With some delicious cheese and coffee, our peaceful meal came to an end. Cheese and coffee does not sound like a good combo.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
I don't
Although
know.
I will tell you, I had the most delicious salted caramel hot chocolate today.
See, that sounds like a good combo. That's. I was about to say, I don't know, maybe it's a rich person moment. I don't.
Probably.
But, like, just doesn't sound good to me. Goda won unanimous acclaim and was praised for all of his skill by all present.
I'm telling you, I think it's one of those things where, like, if you're a chef for rich people, you just make the weirdest stuff possible, and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's delightful. They might, like, hate it. Their stomach, they're, like, actively throwing up, but they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so unique. Like,
It's so good, Goda. It's.
yeah.
After a short period of harmony following the meal, it was decided that we would return to the guest house.
Go to on fraud alert.
Normally, dinner tended to have a very dark atmosphere about it, and the adults would often keep that mood as they moved straight on to the family conference. However, perhaps because this year had been oddly peaceful, everyone decided to take a break, the adults included.
Wow.
After eating, taking a bath, and relaxing while watching TV, I wonder if they'll gather again in the mansion with all this rain and resume that high-tension family conference of theirs. I'd rather not think about it. Apparently, Anteva was getting really worked up, trying to convince the rest to start the family conference right away, but it didn't look like many people agreed with her. They would probably call it quits for the night. Since they had guest house duty, Goda-san and Kumasawa-san were chosen to guide us to the guest house. It's gotta be tough for Goda-san. Even after making and cleaning up such an extravagant dinner, he also had the late night shift at the guest house. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
I heard that Kumasawa-san, old as she was, would be going to sleep soon. It seems she was assigned a spare room. I feel like that's an important statement.
Maybe.
Allow me to guide everyone to the guest house. Erika-sama, a room has also been prepared for you. I want Erika and just cousins conversation. I want her to not feel like she needs to be dignified right now.
Thank you very much.
Why not rest a bit? Are you sure you feel okay?
That's right. I had totally forgotten, but you nearly drowned and floated here, didn't you, Erika-chan? You'd probably be better off taking it easy and getting to bed early tonight.
I'm perfectly fine. On the contrary, I'm so nervous and excited that I doubt I could get any sleep.
She knows.
Then let's play! Let's all play together! Let's play cards!
Maria latched onto her, giggling. This lack of restraint peculiar to youth was very much like Maria. However, we really should be concerned for Erika's physical condition now. He's fine.
Maria, why don't you play cards with us? Erika One-chan is tired.
That's awful familiar, awful fast.
Yeah.
I like cards too. Please let me join you after I've had a short break.
All right!
I guess she was saying it like to Maria.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she said it like that.
Who is that?
As she passed through the lobby of the entrance hall, Erika stopped walking. Me if I was Battler. Oh, that's Grandpa Kinzo.
True.
Sorry. It's just, I don't know. The idea is just really funny to me. When she saw what she was looking at, the rest of us also stopped.
Oh, that is the Golden Witch Beatrice-sama. The Golden Witch?
Or, not question mark.
The Golden Witch.
What are you doing, brats? Go on and head back to the guest house.
What are you doing here? Dad, Kirie-san, Aunt Deva, and Uncle Hideyoshi, and Aunt Rosa all came over. Oh, I guess they're probably dispersing throughout the house, yeah. The entire guest house party had gathered. However, Erika's gaze was captured by the portrait of the witch, and she simply stared at it for a while. It is kinda crazy that after almost 5 episodes, pretty much no progress has been made on the epitaph except for that one time where Ava just solved it.
And Rosa.
And Rosa, but like we were given no information as to how they solved it at all. So from our perspective, this thing has been here for like hundreds of hours of gameplay and not a single thing has been done about it.
It's true. I hate to inform you that for the most part the game is expecting you to solve it on your own.
Why?
Yeah. You'll get some major hints later. Yeah. Supposedly, Dad has a stash of hidden gold worth 20 billion yen. And this epitaph shows you where that gold's hidden.
Perhaps it was too early for them all to disperse into their individual rooms, because the relatives, who had returned to the guest house, all gathered on the first floor, continuing their chat. The topic was the witch's epitaph, which Erika had taken an interest in. Oh, little detective wants to be detective.
It really is a fascinating riddle. He stuck it out in a place where anyone could see it, challenging our intelligence. I love that kind of challenge.
Whoa, you seem surprisingly interested, Erika-chan.
Also very familiar.
Yeah. Do you like solving riddles or something?
Don't challenges like this seem interesting? It seems pretty clear that Kinzo-san wants to use that epitaph to choose a successor.
When she said that, the adults stopped moving.
Was it the concrete sound
Yeah,
effect?
I was about to say that. And slowly turned to face Erika.
Why do you think that?
Aunt Ava spoke with a coaxing voice. Though every now and then there had been whisperings among the relatives that whoever solved the epitaph's riddle might be given the family inheritance. This had been no more than wishful thinking, since such a thing had never been specifically stated. And yet, although she had only read it once, this outsider had already reached that conclusion. How had she come to it? No, that's not the problem. If you solve the epitaph, you can become the next head. She wasn't trying to make it sound like wishful thinking, but an outright fact. So they closed in around Erika, asking why she was so sure.
This is a new song called Smileless Soiree.
It's fairly common for an extremely rich person to relinquish his or her wealth to the solver of some sort of riddle.
Is it?
Furthermore, Kinzo-san didn't publish this epitaph in a newspaper, but displayed it in his mansion. That means the riddle is directed at the people in this mansion.
You're right. Since it's inside the mansion, there's no way for someone who can't enter the mansion to solve it. So, that means Grandfather's been challenging the people here.
Good though. Well thought. Just by the simple fact that the epitaph's inside the mansion, it's possible to figure out that much.
At first, this Furudo Erika girl seemed to be the fairly silent type, but that apparently wasn't the case. As she grew excited by a challenge to a game of wits, she became much more talkative than I'd imagined.
I see. Well, it does make sense that an epitaph inside a mansion would be there so the people in that mansion could read it.
But can you really be so sure that the one who solves it will be given the headship too? If the treasure gained by solving the riddle were something small, I wouldn't even have considered that.
That's right. The hidden gold is worth 20 billion. You might consider that gold itself to be the wealth of the Ushiromiya family.
Inheriting something like that would be almost the same as inheriting the Ushiromiya family itself. In other words, this riddle of the gold's hiding place buried with the epitaph is nothing less than a way of selecting the de facto successor of the Ushiromiya family.
The idea that the one who solved the epitaph would be chosen as the successor had been passed around by some of the relatives for a while now. However, since it had never been specifically announced, it was nothing more than an optimistic dream. Thinking this, they decided to abandon all consideration of this point until the details were made clear. Erika had clearly declared that this uncertain point was in fact true. If one of the relatives had said it, people would have thought it to be merely an optimistic dream. However, when this was declared by a complete outsider, those words seemed even more credible. Everyone remained silent for a while, slowly considering what those words implied.
Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place, this level of reasoning is possible for Furudo Erika. What do you think, everyone?
Sorry to butt in, but my dad's the successor. Finding the gold would be one thing, but that doesn't mean you get to be the head, right?
Jessica thought the treasure hunting part of the epitaph was really fun. However, she couldn't help but let her expression grow bitter once they started talking about undermining her father's position.
By using deductive reasoning based upon my theory, it seems likely that Kinzo-san doesn't want the successor, Kraus-san, to inherit that position too smoothly.
Why's that?
Becoming the head of the Ushiromiya family, with all of the vast wealth it entails, would mean gaining a great deal of influence in a political sense. So, under normal circumstances, the succession should be overseen rigorously, without letting any element of chance creep into the equation.
That's right. It happens a lot in those stories about Sengoku military commanders that my husband loves.
Don't get him started.
Did someone say Hideyoshi? No. When there are multiple candidates for the successor, it usually results in an internal squabble.
Listen, he's literally me. I know how it starts.
That's right. That's why it's important to clearly specify a successor so you can avoid any trouble. Sometimes there's even a purge of all the competing successors.
Oh, purge, you say? The Sengoku commander Hideyoshi admired, Toyotomi, excuse me, I almost said like Toyota. Toyotomi Hideyoshi made his son-in-law Hidesugu
Yeah.
commit seppuku. But it was rumored that he might have done this to make Hideyori, who was his real son and born after Hidetsugu, his true heir. In other words, naming a successor was a way to make it generally known that a single, unique person would be acknowledged by everyone, and a way to remove any chance of another person becoming an opposing candidate.
Good though. That's exactly right. The only purpose for an epitaph like that would be to cast doubt on Kraus-san's position as the successor. In other words, if Kinzo-san wanted Kraus-san to become the head smoothly, he'd have no reason to go out of his way and display something so dangerous for all to see.
That's right. If you spin the chessboard around, you certainly could say that. It would be odd if he handed over the position of the head normally, but only handed over the 20 billion yen in gold to the person who solves the riddle. Kinzo would pass on the title of family head, but he would only give up the 20 billion yen in gold to the person who solved the epitaph. You really couldn't call this passing on the headship in the truest sense.
I don't think that was Kyrie there at the end. Maybe it was. I don't know. Because she moved her PNG.
Yeah.
Either way. I'll just take it as her inner monologue.
That's how it is. By this theory, we are able to doubt whether Kinzo-san truly acknowledged Kraus-san as the successor. Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place, this level of reasoning is possible for Furudo Erika. What do you think, Jessica-san?
She did a little motion there.
What the hell? How do you call that reasoning? That's bullshit. It's screwed up.
Well, Kenzo's a little screwed up.
Her face right now is very squeak, squeak, squeak.
Jessica let her emotions lay bare and glared at Erika. Erika, on the other hand, looked exceedingly calm with an expression that said, well, that's just the truth, right? I see. It looks like the table manners aren't the only way this girl is fitting for the Ushiromiya family. It seems she really does match the family, even when it'd be better if she didn't. Okay, take it easy, Jessica. And Erika, let's leave it at that for now.
Well, we can put this successor stuff to the side for now. Anyway, there's no doubt that it's father's big question for us. It's 20 billion yen. Maria-chan, what'd you use it for if you found it?
Oh, the Golden Land isn't just gold. It's a sacred place.
Uncle Hideyoshi kept trying to force himself to chuckle and improve the mood. Everyone else tried to play along, but Jessica's mood didn't get any better.
So, Erika-chan, would you like to have a go at the epitaph's riddle?
Immediately solves it.
Yes. My little gray cells are itching to get started.
Okay, you made it weird.
I'd like to start solving as soon as possible.
George Aniki smoothly turned the conversation around. Just like the time she'd made everyone laugh in the dining hall, Erika looked about with gleeful eyes and jumped at the chance.
I like it. Well, since Erika seems so interested, let's all try and solve it together, just like last year.
I'll make some coffee. Raise your hand if you want some. And not for you, Maria. You won't be able to sleep.
Oh, I want to drink black coffee.
No, you don't.
Dang. I did look it up, by the way, because I was curious, because I also know somebody else that has a sticker that says Little Gray Cells.
Yeah.
That's an Agatha Christie.
Ah, okay. I was just assuming because gray matter in your brain.
Well, yeah, that's what it's originally in reference to,
Yeah.
but the detective Hercule Poirot from Agatha Christie novels once referred to himself by using Little Gray Cells himself.
Okay.
But he used the British version, Grey. She used the American version.
I still don't like it.
Yeah.
It still is weird. Sorry to tell you,
It
Agatha
is.
Christie. It's
I wonder what that would have been translated like. But anyway,
Don't they get you excited? Fiddles like this? I love them.
Erika said that and smiled. Though she must have known that she'd ticked Jessica off and made the atmosphere sour. She just smiled nonchalantly.
wow.
See? Without even waiting for the crime on October 5th, there's a riddle you can solve.
I've tried to solve it many times myself, but
But you didn't have a clue, so you gave up and stopped thinking, right?
it pissed me off. But I don't have a good counter for that. After all, I don't get the epitaph at all. I don't even know what the beloved hometown means, much less the parts about the Sweetfish River and the key. Thinking that a few more hints would show up if I waited, I kept on waiting, and just stopped thinking.
Have you figured out an answer of your own? Because I'm about to solve it.
What?
This is where Burns solved the riddle of the epitaph. I'd expect no less from the Witch of Miracles. If a riddle is solvable, she can solve it without fail, regardless of the difficulty. How many years did it take to solve this one?
That's rude. I only fished through a few hundred fragments.
You really are terrifying.
You aren't going to cheat by suddenly saying the answer in red or something like that, right?
Don't worry. Just like you, I follow the rules as a player. Well, shall we begin? It's cramped here. Why don't we talk over the sea?
Huh?
The sea.
Okay, don't get queasy, Battler.
What do you mean, the sea? Get!
You ready?
No. I thought the whole world had turned pitch black, and the next moment, I was struck by a strange floating sensation. This must be what it feels like to suddenly have the floor drop from under you, sending you into a bottomless pit. Oh, it's the Sea of Quanta.
Pretty much.
When I looked, I saw the two witches and I had been thrown into a pitch-black universe. In this space, every direction was covered in an endless darkness, and it felt like a limitless expanse filled with countless glittering objects. Some people might have likened it to the depths of an ocean, where innumerable sparkling fragments drifted. Go. Whoa. Whoa.
Didn't she tell you not to get queasy?
If you want the concept of gravity, just create it yourself, okay? Come on, calm down and look at us. Come on, don't we look like we're just fine? Believe that your feet are on the ground and that you're being controlled by gravity. If you do that, you'll find your equilibrium.
Yes, the two witches are standing normally, as if their feet were planted on a transparent piece of glass. I'm the only one floating around like someone in a rapidly plummeting elevator. When I saw that they were doing just fine, I started calming down, figuring that there was no need to be scared. Then, just as Lambdadelta said, I gritted my teeth and kept telling myself that there was a place to stand here, and that I had to stay calm. Whoa!
Very good, very good. What's your name?
Ushiromiya Battler. Who else do I look like?
Okay. You mustn't lose your will, emotions, or form. After all, this is the ocean. If you lose your purpose, you'll fall into the depths of eternity and become a scrap of ocean seaweed.
Oh, okay.
Be careful.
We just brought you to probably one of the most dangerous places you could possibly be. Don't fail, okay? I don't... Honestly, his stupidity probably helps him here.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get what Lambdadelta's saying, but I should calm down for the time being. It seems that I regain my equilibrium the more I calm down. Really like they're really liking the solar flares here.
This. Well, I mean, they pretty
Lens
much
flares, I
explained it
should say,
already.
not solar flares.
Yeah. This is the Sea of Fragments.
I figured.
Yeah.
Gradually, that weird floating feeling, like I was falling forever, began to disappear. It still felt strange, like trying to stand up straight at the bottom of a deep pool, but it was much better than before.
I want to solve the epitaph.
Okay.
Then let's begin. I'll weave together some fragments for solving the riddle of the epitaph.
See, guys, the epitaph's easy. You just have to combine multiple realities together in order to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Bernkastel opened both of her hands. Then, like a planetarium, all of the fragments throughout this empty space began to spin, leaving tails behind them. The expression planetarium might have been surprisingly fitting. Multiple fragments were tied together by gold lines, and what looked like constellations zoomed by us rapidly, one after another. It felt almost as though we were dashing through space at an incredible speed. Then, with tails of light drifting behind them, several brightly glowing fragments swirled around Bernkastel. It looked almost like she created her own solar system, with her as the sun. That solar system surrounding Bernkastel grew to a radius large enough to swallow us up. And every once in a while, one of those satellite fragments zoomed right past me.
Huh.
When those fragments passed me by, it felt as though some kind of memory welled up inside me, so I sensed it. These fragments are probably like crystallizations of memories.
They aren't memories. They're fragments of worlds. Well, I guess they might actually feel like memories to you.
Then let's begin. Let's start with this fragment.
One of the satellites in this solar system was slowly sucked into an inward trajectory with Bernkastel at the center. After drawing a spiral and approaching her, it settled down on the palm of Bernkastel's outstretched hand. Then, it glittered brightly, painting over the world with pure white.
Okay, so I suppose that's gonna be me?
I think?
I think? Oh, shoot. Why do you keep appearing? I thought you were gone after episode 3.
The beloved hometown definitely won't betray our expectations. The only past father held dear happened during his childhood years.
I remember that. This is from the third game, when Aunt Ava was just about to solve the riddle of the epitaph, and was thinking it over with this witch inside her or whatever.
That's right. And from these thoughts, she made her way to the correct answer. In other words, this fragment shows a vital hint for reaching the truth. It means that this theory is not mistaken.
So, you're saying we should assume this beloved hometown isn't a metaphor or anything like that, but the place grandfather actually spent his youth?
That's right. And at the very least, it isn't Odawara.
Ottawa is definitely where he was born, but I don't think that's the hometown he loved. I imagine all of his siblings had the same place in mind. Right. This probably isn't Odawara. From what I've heard, he had a very fun time as a youth.
That's right. Aunt Ava and her siblings said it wasn't Odawara. And not only that, it looks like everyone guessed where grandfather's hometown was, but conveniently didn't say the name.
Right. And annoyingly,
Yup.
and annoyingly, the actual location isn't spoken of in any of the fragments.
Well, duh. If I told you that, there'd be too many hints. If it wasn't a hard riddle, there'd be no point to it. Oh, that's a hint too.
Just where is this hometown of grandfather's? We can't even start if we don't know that.
You mean you couldn't start, so you stopped thinking? Since it had to be a place where he could have lived, the number of possibilities is limited. Well, this is the toughest part.
You were the witch who could certainly solve any riddle that can be solved, weren't you? So you took those limited possibilities, in other words, everywhere on the earth, and considered every single piece of land that Grandfather might have lived on?
That would work too, but that way, no amount of time would be enough. So, I needed to take some more hints into consideration to wring out the answer.
Didn't you say it yourself? You said it didn't have to be a river with water flowing down it. If the word sweet fish is too complicated, why not forget it? Think of a river. A river. Linking it with a family tree wasn't a bad idea. Try thinking about how to link a river with something else along those lines.
A sweetfish river running through the hometown. However, this river isn't truly a river. Ever thought of something else? Something that could be linked with a river?
I'm assuming it's just some kind of other path, because a river has a set path that it takes. But I just don't know what kind of path. It could be a road, it could be a trail, it could be... I don't know. Sure, but if this isn't a river, then why the sweet fish? That could also be a metaphor for something.
Think. A river that runs through the hometown, but it isn't a river with water running down it. Something that can be likened to a river.
Ah.
Behold the Sweetfish River running through the beloved hometown. Ava knew where the hometown was, so she could forget about the Sweetfish hint. However, since we don't know where it is, this could be a hint for us.
I worried too much about the Sweetfish River. The Sweetfish part didn't really matter that much at all, did it?
That isn't true. It was an excellent hint, wasn't it? Well, of course, if there was no need for it to be sweet fish.
What are these sweet fish? If the river isn't a literal river, then of course sweet fish probably doesn't mean the kind of fish that swims.
Yeah. And on top of that, Rosa tossed it aside, saying that sweet fish weren't that significant.
On the other hand, Ava said it wasn't important for them to be sweet fish, but that it was still an excellent hint. In other words, the sweet fish is a key to make you think of something else. If that something is a different word, but a word that sweetfish makes you think of, then Ava's line about how it probably didn't have to be sweetfish makes sense.
From these thoughts, Aunt Ava formed some theory, went to the library, looked through some books, and verified that she was right. In short, Aunt Ava formed some theory about the true nature of this Sweetfish River running through a hometown. Then, she opened a certain book to determine whether that theory was correct or not. In other words, this theory was something that could be verified through some kind of book. Also, after she figured out what the Sweetfish River was, she figured out the rest of the riddle very quickly.
Good thinking. The epitaph continues on, saying, as you travel down the river, you will see a village. At that point in time, Ava hadn't yet solved the 3 lines starting with this one.
What is this village? What does it mean? Do you find one if you go down the river?
I think this
that
is
still
badly.
me? Okay.
And right before my eyes, the pieces that I hadn't been able to understand at all. No, okay, I think it might be Ava, actually. I don't know. Began to snap. Snap. Into place, all by themselves. It is Ava, because she's the one who always talks about her mouth hanging open.
I couldn't even remember to close my open mouth. My throat got completely dry. Is it really okay for this to be the answer? Really? Really?
No. So, if we figure out what the Sweetfish River running through the hometown is, that leads us directly to understanding that as you travel down the river, you will see a village stuff. And then we get the key to the Golden Land.
Correct. And we know that because even Eva didn't know what the village meant until she checked the book. We know that because of that.
Damn it. Just what is this book?
But this isn't 6 characters at all. I'm absolutely sure this is the answer, but this doesn't reach 6 characters at all.
Did you stop thinking again? In that case, think of a way you could read it with 6 characters. If you can't think of one, then research it. There has to be an answer. You must not doubt that. Oh, is believing in that too much for you? If only you just cry yourself to sleep, and then you can just give up and die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh. 6 characters. I found it. Is the key to the Golden Land.
Then, Eva found the key to the Golden Land.
Yeah. And this key was some kind of word, number, or string of characters. 6 characters long.
That's it. If we know the key's true identity has 6 characters, the meaning of the first Twilight changes drastically.
On the first Twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. The 6 chosen by the key. 6 characters. In other words, it means to sacrifice the 6 characters chosen by the key on the first Twilight.
This key indicates a certain group of 6 people. No, we should say it indicates a certain group of 6 things. If this doesn't mean a literal command to offer sacrifices. For example, it could be an anagram.
An anagram? Do you mean playing with letters?
Yes, Kyrie-san had been thinking that way ever since that moment.
On the second Twilight, there are those who remain, which means that at the very least, that something has a limited number of characters. You could read it like it's telling you to continue with the remaining characters after the first 6 characters are removed.
In other words, on the first Twilight, we take a list of characters that's longer than 6, kill the 6 that are the key, and then do something with the characters that remain.
That's right. But, like Kyrie said, what should we kill the characters from? We don't know this longer string of characters that we're supposed to be killing from. On the first Twilight,
kill the 6 characters that are the key. On the first Twilight. In other words, by the time we reach the first Twilight, some string of characters already exists. That might be a set of Japanese characters, but knowing grandfather's tastes, could it be something in English? The first Twilight has more than 6 characters, even though the Japanese phrase has just 4. That. Wait, go back, wait, I want to keep going in there. They were figuring it out. No!
The rest is in your hands.
Good. That idea of yours isn't bad, Battler-san. We can interpret the 6 sacrifices chosen by the key as a string of 6 characters. I think it's a very clever concept. That way, the key doesn't necessarily have to be key-shaped.
I've also considered the possibility that it's an anagram.
Come to think of it, he did say something like that before. But in that case, where do we take the 6 characters out from? That's right. Since we're taking 6 characters out, it must be at least 6 characters long. We need to read in some way that gives it more than 6 characters.
If we follow Father's sensibilities, I guess it probably is in English after all. If it looks like we're getting stuck, why don't we move on to the second twilight and look for hints? Those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. We can probably think of those who remain as the remaining characters after the first 6 have been taken out.
In that case, what does it mean by 2 characters that are close?
Maybe repeating characters? So like 2 characters that are the same character?
I see. I get it. So that's what this is about.
For example, let's take the following list of 9 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then, let's say that the 6 characters offered as sacrifices are 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9. In this case, we erase the aforementioned 6 characters from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and get blank 2, blank 4, 5, blank, 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 blank. Oh, okay, so we're putting spaces in there. And then 4 and 5 are the 2 who are close, so you separate them.
So, 2, 4, and 5 are left. So what?
Oh, 4 and 5 are close.
Yeah, I get it. So the 2 who are close are...
2, 4, 5.
Yep. There's a gap between 2 and 4, but 4 and 5 are right next to each other. They're the 2 who are close.
Good though. Well done, Bettler-san. We can't tell whether tear apart means to crush 4 and 5, or to put a gap between them, but I think that's a good observation.
That was going to be my next question is, does that mean get rid of them, or does that mean just separate them?
And what do you think about the third twilight? Those who remain shall praise my noble name.
Since there's a good chance that we're playing with letters, this might be the same thing. The characters that remain shall praise my noble name.
That's tough. What could it mean?
Does anyone know? I think I do.
I mean, if it's relating to Kinzo...
What are you cooking? What are you cooking right now? I mean, they're gonna keep breaking it down. but-
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think, but I mean, I just if Kinzo made, but that's the thing is I don't know if Kinzo's referring to himself or to Beatrice in the praise my noble name thing. So I'm not 100% sure. But okay, wait. If we're going off of this, off of like there's no magic, then it wouldn't be Beatrice, I would assume. So then it would be Kinzo.
Either way, you gotta start first thing. What even are you? What are you doing? Like to what
I don't
phrase
know.
Or,
I don't.
That's exactly.
But it's a minimum of 6 characters long, presumably more because you have to spell something out with it after you get rid of 6. Or it might not be spelling, it might be numbers or something else entirely. But you have to have some code with more than 6 afterwards. So presumably it's more than 6.
Yep.
And you have to separate, there's at least 2 because after you get rid of 6 because you have to separate the 2 that are close.
Mm-hmm.
I need to
And
pull
then
up the
whatever that
epitaph
is.
somewhere.
Yeah. Then whatever that is praises your noble name.
Yeah.
I think if you want to, I think it's in the tips menu if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Oh, nope, not anymore.
It's just gone. It
used to be there.
Yeah,
I thought.
it did. It was there in
Epitaph
questions
in the
arc.
letter.
It was there in questions arc. I guess it just nope. You're just not allowed to look at it this time.
Oopsie.
Oh well.
Hmm.
Now you have homework.
Yeah. Wait. Second Twilight is separate the 2 who are close.
Yeah.
And then it's all the gouges, isn't it?
Yes.
So what? Okay. So if it's a string of letters. Okay. Wait. So then we can assume based off of how many gouges there are that's how many characters that are left. So how many Twilights
Now
are
you're
there?
thinking. Here, I'll pull it up for you on my second monitor. 1 second. And I can read you. Because the first thing, after the two are separated, then it's praise my noble name, and then it's the gouges.
Yeah.
So, the amount of gouges are 5.
Okay. And then plus 2 because you separate the two who are close. Unless you get rid of those by separating them. But that means after the killing of 6, there should be 7 left.
Unless the two that are close are part of the 5.
Unless the two that are close are part of the 5. Okay, so there's at least 5 left. At a minimum. So, I mean, 5 letters could spell Kinzo.
That's true. And they have already said that they considered, they were like, maybe we have to do it in English.
Mm-hmm. Probably do have to do it in English. I am in agreement with them that it seems like something Kinzo would do to make it in English. But then what does gouge mean? What are we're doing something. We're doing something to the characters.
Yeah.
What does the gouge mean?
You've made some pretty good strides so far.
Are we removing characters? Because kill?
I can't remember how many more hints you get after this whole scene is done.
I mean, regardless, I don't, without knowing the first part, I'm not gonna arrive to the key. So, I'm not gonna get to an answer right now by doing this, so let's just keep going.
Yeah, unless you can solve the parts that come before the Twilights, you won't be able to solve the part with the Twilights. Anyway.
But I am understanding.
True, you've got a point right now that you believe X equals 5 characters. So, good start. Huh? What is it? Tell me.
Is this also an anagram?
Once again, good though.
This is more praise than Battler's ever gotten from anyone.
Yeah, that's why I like her. No,
Battler-san, you're a pretty flexible thinker.
by anagram, you mean playing with letters, right? That means...
In other words, maybe you can make some kind of word by changing the order of the remaining letters.
Is that what the gouging would be?
Yeah, if so.
I might be getting ahead of myself with this theory, but maybe the original list of characters that the first Twilight removed from is 11 characters long.
Well done again. I reached the same conclusion.
Why is that? Why do you think there are 11 characters?
that face.
God, I want her to look at me like that.
Yeah. Oh.
We think killing a single sacrifice means crushing a single character. If we interpret the tear apart of the second Twilight to mean adding a gap between two characters, then there are 11 characters total. If tear apart means to crush those two characters, then we can assume that there are 13 characters. After all, from the fourth Twilight to the eighth Twilight, the word kill appears 5 times.
Okay, so I was on it.
And then on the ninth Twilight, it's written that none will be left alive.
Or at least based off of what they're currently saying, I was on it. Information could change.
Yep.
If we ignore the part about the witch reviving for now, I figured that after crushing the first 6, separating the characters that are close, and then crushing 5 more of them, there should be no characters left.
Hey, hola, Tommy. Hey.
Hey, Tommy. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since I got an hola from Tommy.
So that makes 6 plus 5, or 11 characters. Yup. If tearing apart the two who are close in the second Twilight means to kill both of them, that makes 6 plus 2 plus 5, or 13 characters. There's a chance the word symbolizing the first Twilight has 11 or 13 characters. Wait, it couldn't be that easy, could it?
Do you know any words like that that are relevant to this story?
Let me think. I'm trying to think of several words that have been mentioned. Words that have been mentioned multiple times.
Well, I didn't say that. I said words that are relevant to the story.
Well, that's what I think of when I think of relevant, is something that's been mentioned something that's been said several times. It's been coming back.
Maybe. I guess it depends on your definition, because A lot of words.
Yeah. What was it that we figured out all of Questions Arcs had? Like,
I can't remember.
over
I think I can pull it back
400,000
up.
or something?
Yeah.
It's not quadrillion, is it?
Does quadrillion have that many letters?
I just did it out on my fingers. Quad Rillion. That's 11.
Okay.
If it's 11.
So, if it is quadrillion, what do you do next?
I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far.
You sacrifice the 6, right?
Yeah. So, okay, then what are the 6 then?
The 6 chosen by the key is sacrifice.
There's 6 chosen by the key, and I don't know what the key is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to figure out what the key is to keep going on now. If quadrillion's correct.
Or you can work backwards by spinning the chessboard around. If you know that it ends with 5, then you just have to rearrange quadrillion down to 5 letters over and over again. Until
Yeah,
you can
but that
find...
I don't have time to do that right now. I don't.
Not right now. Maybe you can present us a theory on Sunday.
Oh gosh. Okay. Perhaps.
As long as you can get it to result in those who remain shall praise my noble name.
True. Okay. Got my thinking cap on.
And plus, we might get more hints right now. There it is again. I don't know if I read any of this. I'm going to start from the top.
Wonderfully done. That's the exact same theory I thought of. It looks like you were gifted with excellent little gray cells, just like me, Battler-san.
Stop saying that. Yeah. Hey, quit it. Just doing what comes naturally. Oh, he's getting flustered. Ooh, he's getting...
It's a pretty lady talking.
Pretty
to him.
ladies praising him. Hey,
Oh, what in the world?
what the hell? The piece me is pretty damn smart. There's no room left for me to make theories. He's stealing my thunder.
Deep Blue Jeer is back. This is one of my faves.
Oh, sorry about that. You weren't around at this point, so I just controlled your piece for you. Isn't it nice how smart I made you look?
You look smarter when Burn's playing you. Why not step down as the player and concentrate on being a piece instead?
I joined in on this game partway through, well after the first murders occurred on October 5th. That means the piece called me was controlled by the player, Bernkastel. So I guess that means it's possible for Bernkastel's reasoning to be announced through my mouth. The game I'm watching now is nothing more than a replay of a part that's already ended.
I love that song so much.
However, that's probably good enough for now. After all, this is Bernkastel-sama's going out of her way to solve the epitaph for me. I'll watch closely for now. And I'll try to find out what it means. I'm also trying to figure it out for you, Battler. You're doing nothing, brother.
If I remember correctly, those guys that I watched that are like Australian or something, the one that hadn't played it before also started solving it at this episode.
Oh, well, there you go. You and me, we're on the same wavelength. But, no, I just think it's really funny that Bernkastel's like, don't stop thinking, Battler. Don't stop thinking. After all of this occurring, Battler's reasoning, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
I'll just wait and let Bernkastel solve it for me. That'll be easy.
I'm not gonna stop thinking. I'm gonna pause thinking. It's different.
They retrieve gold.
Yeah.
Lambdadelta let it slip herself just a second ago. The pixelation warp in is new.
Here, I'm gonna try something because I tried this the other night when I was playing D&D with the other crew. Now that was for muffle sound effect, but I don't care. I'm gonna use it for this, and we're gonna see what happens. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Well, duh. If I told you that, there'd be too many hints. If it wasn't a hard riddle, there'd be no point to it. Uh-oh, that's a hint too.
I just spoke through my shirt. I don't know if made any difference whatsoever or not.
You just sounded a little bit muffled. You just. This theory about grandfather creating the epitaph in order to choose a successor isn't bad at all. Erika and Bernkastel's logic is extremely reasonable. But that's only if we assume grandfather was the one to create it. True. He was probably alive at the time the epitaph was displayed. But of course, grandfather is already dead by 1986. And, in the games up until now, Beatrice threatened us repeatedly with letters, saying that the only way to survive was to solve the epitaph, and trying to force us to solve the riddle, which, for some reason, no one wanted to do this entire time. In other words, it was Beatrice's intention, her hope, that we would try solving the riddle of the epitaph. The epitaph's so confusing that in most cases, the relatives never seriously tried solving it until the threatening letters started to arrive. That's why Beatrice fired the starting pistol that made us take a go at it. Why is Beatrice carrying out grandfather's will after his death? Like the theory proposed in the first game, is Beatrice really grandfather's confidant, who's following his orders even after his death and trying to select the successor with the riddle of the epitaph in grandfather's stead? If she did that, it would mean Beatrice really was Kinzo's trusted underling. Well, confidant's more like, I feel like that's more equal in position than underling, but still. The family alchemist she claimed to be in that letter. After grandfather's death, Beatrice managed the 10 tons of gold and took the title of alchemist. She was entrusted with the epitaph's riddle, and without ever embezzling the gold, she waited for a human fitting to be the successor to appear and solve it. And if that human didn't appear within a set time limit, would that be game over? Certainly, Aunt Eva, who solved the riddle in the third game, became the only survivor and automatically the final head of the Ushiromiya family, inheriting everything. Up until now, no one has ever survived past October 5th except Aunt Eva, the one who solved the epitaph. That was the only case where Beatrice let anyone survive. Is Beatrice's loyalty to grandfather the thing that drove her? Was she so loyal that she faithfully carried out some terrible order to kill everyone if the epitaph wasn't solved? I must not stop thinking. Don't stop thinking. Don't just think of the riddle itself. Think about why it's significant. Why is Beatrice telling us to solve the epitaph? Why is she making us solve such a confusing epitaph? If Beatrice makes us try and solve this epitaph, we have no real chance of solving. And by some lucky chance, a miracle occurs and someone is able to solve it. What significance would that have to her? I don't know what such a miracle would be worth to Beato. What is your sin? What did you do? What? We still don't know. Anyway, until we figure out the first Twilight, we'll have to give up on the rest. We tried looking at it from several different angles, but in the end, we got stuck there and made no further advances. Sweetfish River. Maria let out an extra large yawn. This caused several other people to yawn. We'd been using our heads so much that everyone had gotten a little sleepy. Jessica, who'd been silent and irritated the whole time, quickly stood up. Oh, poor Jessica.
Yeah.
I'm going upstairs with Maria. We'll watch TV or something.
Okay. I'll go up too. Hey, why don't we all play cards upstairs?
When George proposed this, Maria completely forgot about that big yawn of hers and started jumping around, insisting that she wanted to play cards.
What even do they mean by that? Like old maid or something?
I don't know. Poker. Could you imagine? Like all the kids are just really good at poker. Especially Maria.
Yeah. Yay! Full house!
Yeah.
Like,
all of the others immediately fold. That's why Maria wins every time, is she doesn't actually know what any of the card combinations mean, and she just assumes that she has full house every time. According to the clock, it was already 10 o'clock at night. It was already about the time you'd normally take a bath and get ready for sleep. That's when you take a bath and get ready for sleep? Dang.
Ken?
Yeah. These Ushiromios are staying up late.
Yeah, taking a bath at 10, I don't know.
Even the adults seemed pretty weary from traveling. We decided to continue this later and went our separate ways.
Oh. Will you play cards with us too, Erika-chan? I appreciate the sentiment. I overstepped my bounds a little, forgetting that I'm a simple guest.
I just put two and two together that earlier Erika complimenting Battler is just Bernkastel stroking her own ego.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh. I'd like to take it easy and rest for the night. I almost forgot I was recently in an accident.
Seriously, you're in such high spirits, it's hard to believe you almost drowned. That's youth for you. Still, I enjoyed it. I think we've taken a big step in our reasoning thanks to you. If I find the gold, I'll let you have about 1,000,000 yen worth.
Can't you at least offer the poor girl 100 million?
No need to bother. I'm only interested in solving the riddle. Well then, if you'll excuse me. Good night.
Meow.
Yeah, night.
Oh, you aren't going upstairs, Battler-kun?
I'm getting a bit interested. I'll think things through here just a bit longer. If I can just figure out the list of characters that marks the first twilight, I bet the road before me will open up all at once. Everyone went up to the second floor, one by one. Only Aunt Rosa remained behind, cleaning up the coffee cups everyone had been drinking out of. Kyrie-san and some others had offered to help, but Rosa had refused and was washing them all alone. Since I'd just been treated to such delicious coffee, I decided to help too. It was instant coffee.
Delicious.
I wasn't just doing it because I felt obligated. I wanted to keep discussing the epitaph with someone. The first twilight. The first twilight. Aunt Rosa, have you thought of some list of characters or a word?
No, I don't have a clue. But instead of the first twilight, it's the 10th twilight that bugs me.
The 10th twilight? What about it?
Well,
Sorry, I want to see what it is. Ah.
at the end here, it says you'll receive the Golden Land's 4 treasures once and for the last time, right?
Yeah, it does.
Why mention that you're reaching the Golden Land just once, and then say it's for the last time? It's almost as though he's repeating the same thing twice. I've just been wondering whether he had some reason for putting it like that.
You're right. Like you said, there's got to be a more straightforward way of saying that. That line should have been a key part of the riddle, where you wouldn't expect a writer to waste words needlessly. Could it have been done for some special purpose?
Still, you and that Erika-chan girl are incredible. Your minds really are flexible. I'm already an old lady, and my brain just doesn't work that fast. That theory about the 6 chosen by the key signifying 6 characters to be removed was very impressive. After hearing that, I can't see it as being any other way. But before then, I didn't think it was like that at all. I'm feeling let down by my own dull mind.
That's not true. You've got a flexible mind yourself, Aunt Rosa. This last time thing might be really important somewhere down the line.
Not at all. My mind's very stiff. Up until now, I've always thought that this first twilight was nothing more than a place 1/10 of the way on a road to the Golden Land.
What's that? Sounds interesting. Mind telling me about it?
After all, in the line before the first twilight, It says you must travel to the Golden Land, right? The next part describes a journey that lasts 10 days, so I thought the first twilight would be part of the way through that journey.
A journey. I see.
Then, the journey begins, and when you set up camp at the first twilight, you offer the 6 as sacrifices. So where would that place be? How many kilometers from the starting point? Please don't tell anyone about your aunt's silly ideas, okay? When I first saw that part about attaining to the treasures of the Golden Land, I just assumed it was more of the same. Typically, attaining treasures would mean obtaining them, but I thought it meant reaching or arriving at some place. Some place 10 days away from Father's hometown, where all these treasures might be found.
Are you kidding? That's a brilliant idea. And the first twilight is on the stop on that 10-day journey. The name of that place might be the key to moving forward.
For my 10-day theory to work, you'd have to know both the start point and the end point. I know the start point. I know the hometown Father loved. The place Father spent his time when he was a boy is really far away. But the problem is the goal, the Golden Land. What does that really mean? If we don't know that, my theory gets us nowhere. I've been stuck at this spot for a long time. But after listening to your reasoning today, I've realized what an embarrassing mistake I've been making.
No. I think that's still an interesting idea. A start and a goal. A 10-day journey. And the place reached at the very first twilight.
Believe it or not, I think you might solve this one easily, Battler-kun. If you do solve it with your aunt's hint, share some with me. Even 5% would be great. It's a promise.
Despite being my aunt, she gave me a smile and a wink, which would have made a man's heart jump. Okay, hold on, Battler. Battler, you gotta calm down, brother. As I helped her wash the coffee cups, I kept pondering the epitaph's riddle in silence. First Jessica, now your aunt. You gotta reel it back in. Remember who you are. There is one woman who you are locked in eternity with. After I finished helping Aunt Rosa, I passed through the corridor on my way to the bathroom, and saw Erika unlocking the door to a room on my path. I thought your room was on the second floor. Figured you'd gone upstairs and had fallen asleep by now.
I was just searching for something. I thought it might be here.
Searching for something? Library? Maybe? Erika unlocked the door and opened it. A dusty smell drifted out. I think it's probably the library again. Yep.
Boink.
It was the library. Why do they even got a library in the guest house?
Kraus?
True, actually, though. Wait. You don't understand, babe. For a
Library tourism. Oh.
The gaps between bookshelves were extremely small. This was obviously built for storing books, not reading them. Yeah? So, it's a book you're searching for.
Not necessarily a book, but materials, I guess you could say. There's something I've just got to look up.
You're looking for something to do with the epitaph's riddle? Pretty impressive that you haven't given up yet. Is the 20 billion yen that enticing? I think she has autism, Battler, and she's artistic and really wants to solve this riddle. I hadn't given up either. Apparently, being stubborn is something that we both share.
You know, I just got a new one of those. I'll share it to you later. Of course not. I'm only interested in solving puzzles.
She is so artistic.
I search for the gold only to prove my reasoning correct. Even if I found it, I wouldn't pocket it for myself, so have no fears on that score.
She immediately cast my comment aside, saying that she just liked solving riddles and had no interest in all the gold. I've thought she was pretty weird from the start, and it looks like that impression was spot on. Erika slowly circled the bookshelves, searching for the book she was after. I'm also trying to solve the epitaph right now. Oh yeah, just a second ago, I heard something interesting from Aunt Rosa, which might give us a hint about the first Twilight. Human Bernkastel and Battler played by Bernkastel. That's what we're dealing with right now.
Yep.
Let me hear it.
Erika asked this without stopping her search, or even turning to face me. Sorry, I just thought of something. I just thought of something she calls herself later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that she's like this now, and then it's gonna
Just-
be like...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
In the line before the first Twilight, it says that the one who obtains the key must do so and so. The one who obtains the key must then travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules.
The one who obtains the key must then travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules.
That's what I just said. Whoa. You've already got it memorized? Guess I shouldn't be surprised.
And what about that?
Yeah. You've got to travel to the Golden Land, right? Apparently, this made Aunt Rosa think about the 10th Twilight. In other words, going on a 10-day journey from the beloved homeland to the Golden Land.
Actually, I'd already noticed that myself. You start from the place reached on the first day of the 10-day journey.
Finger pointing up emoji, buck teeth glasses on Erika's face.
True.
That's where you take the sacrifices from.
Yeah, that's what Aunt Rosa thought of too. I think the theory's pretty intriguing. We're looking for the place you'd reach on the first day of a 10-day journey. That bit of land, or else the name of that region, might be a key.
Bro has got to quit glazing his aunt.
What?
He keeps going like, yeah, Aunt Rosa said that.
Just, okay, but please just don't refer it to that as that anymore.
I also guessed that the place's name might be a key. That's why I'm looking for materials. I want to turn my guess into certainty.
Just what are you looking for? Then, Erika's hand suddenly stopped, and she slowly pulled it out. As she dusted it off, she finally looked at me and spoke. She's pulling her...
It's an atlas.
Ominous thunder rumbling at an atlas.
Mm-hmm. You get it?
Well, I mean, she's going to be looking for where Kinto's hometown was, I'm assuming.
It's a book.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Is this real, or is this like you're being funny right now? I can't
I'm
tell.
being goofy.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know when you're telling me real things or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are goofy things that happen in this story that are important.
It's true. I also got to see, was that that was the end of that chapter, which that chapter was called Witch of Miracles.
Yeah. You want to hold
Let me
it
see
here,
if there's...
or no?
We could probably do one more, because the next one seems short. I'm just looking to see if there's any funny song cues.
Okay.
Psy chorus, in parentheses, Erika breaks down the epitaph. That's kind of funny. She's breaking it down. Future, the others leave. In parentheses. Well, the song Lure, and in parentheses, the library.
The library.
Mm-hmm. That's about it.
They
There's
could
not a lot of
have
funny
made
ones
it
in that one.
Erika breaks it down instead of breaks down the epitaph.
Yeah. Oh, also, Deep Blue Jeer played, and in parentheses it said Burns playing.
Say hi, Burn.
It seems we've managed to make it through the first day.
Nazi could be seen in the study. When she muttered as though to herself,
gold butterflies appeared and formed the shape of a person.
We mustn't let our guards down. I can't imagine what'll last through tomorrow if we simply sit around here.
So, as I suspected, simply saying Father's in a bad mood and refuses to come out won't be enough to deceive them completely.
Here, I'm gonna tell you what. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get a water.
Okay. Well, gang, we're inching closer to the truth, it seems, with each installment. I feel like, since he kept egging me on, Quadrillion was right. Since he kept trying to get me to solve more and more after that. So that's the theory I'm running with right now. But now, like they've been saying, I need to figure out... So, presumably, we're going to have to find... Based off of what they're saying, based off of what Rosa and Battler and Erika have been saying, if we're journeying to find the code that is eventually going to result in those, in everything that happens in the gouge and kill and blah 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 and separate and all that, I'm assuming that it translates into real life, and so that is a thing that can be found somewhere, if I'm taking it literally from like the metaphor of traveling on a journey to find it on each twilight. So then that would mean that there's a path you can take to get to this golden land, quote unquote, which I'm assuming is going to be where the gold is.
Okay, I'm back.
I was just running through the epitaph a little bit more.
Yep. It's you've definitely made some good headway on this episode or this session alone. But you are probably gonna have a time trying to get the key. That's why I think you're gonna have better luck working backwards.
Yeah, it does seem like the hardest part right now is the key.
Yeah, I forgot how you get the key, so I went and looked at the solution on the wiki. Yeah, it's pretty tough. I remember that Australian guy, which I will remember because I remembered his channel name. Joe Chrono is his name, for those of you. And they give credit where credit's due. He was, in fact, solving it via finding the key on his own.
Wow.
I know. He pretty much did what Erika's doing right now. He just, like, pulled out maps and started looking.
Wait, in real life?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He was looking at maps and translating things because a lot of it was in, not
holy
English.
moly.
Which is why, again, I think you'll have better luck just working backwards.
Yeah, I'm going to try to be Battler pilled or Kyrie pilled and turn the chessboard around on this one instead.
Yeah. Anyway, back to it.
Indeed, it seems last year left them quite suspicious. Because of that, the toxin has expanded and is coiling itself around this study, growing ever tighter.
Inside thoughts.
What?
I thought it would be...
Yeah?
You know Ghost Stories dub, right?
Yes, I do.
You know the part where the little kid, like, they insult the little kid and then he just makes noises? He goes like, I thought it would have been really funny if Ronove appears and just, like, does that and then disappears. I don't know. In my head, Ronove is just funny. He's just a funny little guy to me.
I don't think it's in your head.
Okay.
I think he is just funny.
Okay. I imagine it goes beyond mere suspicions raised last year.
If Umineko took place in 2024, I think Ronove would enjoy, like, brain rot style humor.
True.
Not because he thinks it's genuinely funny, but because he knows other people don't think it's funny. And so he does it on purpose.
True. That is very him. Dang.
Everyone's here.
I was gonna say his whole squad.
That's right. The toxin has grown too thick to be explained away by that alone. Someone must have suspected Kinzo-sama's death since last year, and is strongly intent on exposing that secret at this year's family conference.
Did Vergilia introduce herself to Natsuhi ever?
I can't remember. I don't think so. Can't remember.
About to say, I think this is like the first time she's appeared with Natsuhi in a scene in this one.
Does that mean we didn't have them fully deceived even a full year ago?
Unfortunately, it's probably best to assume that, given our current situation. The typhoon will remain here tomorrow, and the boat will not come for them until the day after. In short, we must endure for another 36 hours at the very least.
It may not be visible to your eyes, Natsuhi, but the closed room barrier sealing this room was once very firm. Tonight, however, it has been worn down almost to the point of crumbling, like dry leaves awaiting a windstorm.
No, the storm is already here. Natsuhi-sama, I propose that we switch from the closed room barrier to something else. What do you mean by that? Are you suggesting we change our plan?
That is correct. Vagilia-sama and I will reconstruct a barrier similar to last year's.
In other words, we'll take Kinzo out of the study and have him tightrope walk from shadow to shadow where the toxin can't reach, just like last year. It may be dangerous, but I would like to second her proposal.
Is this a joke? Do you truly intend to change the plan this far in? When one realizes they cannot withstand a siege, they must consider the option of abandoning the castle.
Sullying out, I believe they call it.
Yep.
Right now, this room is like a castle surrounded by enemy troops, with its walls about to crumble. If staying put means certain death, then you also have the option of riding out for one last stand and an honorable defeat. After all, surrender doesn't seem to be an option in this fight.
I'll protect Father's secret until the very end. If it's discovered, we'll have no chance to talk our way out of it. My husband's embezzlement will be exposed to the light of day, and the Ushiromiya family's honor will be destroyed. We must remain firm and prevent that no matter what may happen.
Calm down, I understand you. Kraus's alchemy will soon yield great results. If we can just make it through this year, we'll manage. So don't get flustered.
But we used this strategy precisely because we wouldn't be able to pull off the same trick as last year, right? Isn't it the height of stupidity to return to a plan you previously abandoned because it was impossible? Just what sort of plan could we hope to make at this point? Ronove and I will prepare one. Leave it to us, for creating illusions is what witches do. All you have to do is give us your permission, Natsuhi-sama.
Teacher and Ronove are quite reliable at times such as these, and the servants of the One-Winged Eagle are top-notch furniture. Once Teacher and Ronove rebuild the magic we need, I imagine the servants will work hard to protect it. It still isn't too late. Let's take Kinzo out of the study and make that illusion walk around.
Did you forget? We chose our current strategy because we considered plans like that and couldn't find anything that would work? It would be the height of foolishness to get flustered in an emergency and carelessly throw away our primary plan. But Natsuhi-sama, as you stand there amidst the toxin, you must realize better than anyone else that we will no longer be able to outlast this siege. I propose that we try and think of another plan without changing our objective of holding the fort. In any event, as long as we can keep this room sealed, no one will be able to deny Father's existence. After all, one cannot determine the contents of a cat box that no number of people could ever hope to open.
Well, that may be true, but humans are capable of defying reason. It's possible for them to eat into an airtight cat box and go inside, like black ants closing in on a box of cake. Lady Bernkastel's piece also worries me.
It was fortunate that Erika-sama stole the show at tonight's dinner. By doing that, she created an atmosphere in which it was possible to close down the family conference for the night. If you all had returned directly to the family conference as usual, the barrier might have broken tonight.
However, It also made the toxin grow even thicker. After it thickens all night, it might manage to penetrate the closed room barrier with ease. Whether we continue to hold down the fort or not, we will not make it through tomorrow unless we prepare a new strategy and a new barrier.
Lady Bernkastel may have some plan for breaking the closed room barrier. We can't take that piece called Erika lightly.
Yeah. Come to think of it, that man who mentioned taking revenge for the events of 19 years ago might also be a piece of Lambdadelta, or Lady Bernkastel's. Whoa, wrong one.
It was the L and the B?
Yeah.
This board achieved equilibrium with 18 pieces, but now it has had 2 undesired pieces added to it. There are too many irregularities this year.
Lady Bernkastel is a fan of Eastern things. In shogi, or Japanese chess, aren't you allowed to drop pieces in during a game?
Yes, that is possible. Even the act of dropping a queen from the captured pile right in front of the enemy king is an allowable trump card in shogi.
I gotta learn that game one day.
I wonder what that man who claimed to have a connection from 19 years ago is doing now. Is he already hiding somewhere on this island? That girl called Erika was able to appear by claiming to have drifted here. That man might also have landed somewhere on this island despite the typhoon, and he may be hiding somewhere now. And it's going to be hard to fully deceive the relatives any longer. Why? Why have so many irregular things happened at the same time? How can you explain this nightmarish miracle of coincidence?
Natsuhi slammed the desk hard, held her head, and cringed at the pain from her overwhelming headache.
Lady Bernkastel controls miracles. There's no point in being surprised at irregularities or miracles when she's around.
While shogi is a game in which an enemy piece might suddenly appear in front of a king, for that very reason, you build up a perfect formation that won't allow for such a weakness, artistically constructing a castle around your king.
In that case, isn't holding the fort exactly what we should be doing now?
Perhaps if we had a fort we could hold, but we cannot hope for such a thing now.
It's difficult to corner a king with no wall to his back, and even more difficult to corner one with open spaces in all directions. Think of a mouse. You can catch a mouse that's shut in a cage. However, catching a mouse in a field is like trying to catch a cloud.
Natsuhi-sama, please allow us to consider this option. Kenzo-sama will leave his study and wander around the mansion on a whim, avoiding the cases of the relatives. We will think of a natural-seeming plan for this by morning. Don't you see the danger? If we're willing to consider such a dangerous option, wouldn't it be better to continue acting as though father is in his room in a bad mood? Tomorrow, the relatives will crowd around the study once again. They'll be right on the other side of that single door. When that happens, just how long do you intend to make it seem like they're having a yelling match with Kenzo-sama? It's impossible. And we must find some way to postpone that impossibility for 36 hours. If you tell me to do it, I will. I am Ushiromiya Natsuhi, the wife of the Ushiromiya family head. If you tell me to do that, I will act out a shouting match with father for as many days as it takes. Ah!
Even Natsuhi realized that she could never manage it. But she no longer saw any chance of victory from a plan that involved an illusion of Kenzo walking around. Banging on the desk several times, with tears of rage streaming down her face, Natsuhi alternated between groaning from her headache and placing the blame on one thing or another. It made one feel that there must be some curse that made anyone who sat in that chair act that way.
This is like a game of mating shogi,
What?
Don't know what that is, but I gotta learn.
Same.
where you're on the defensive. In mating shogi, the opponent has no king, and you have no way of winning other than avoiding a checkmate for a predetermined number of moves.
How, if there's no king, how do you check? Well, I guess it's a different game, so.
And to think that I must escape for a whole day and a half's worth of moves. It's just too many.
Don't stop thinking. Don't give up. I'll listen to your complaints, so don't have a fit. Your unshaking will to overcome this trial will bring you success with certainty. That's the power of the Witch of Certainty for you. You must not lose that magical power.
That's a new one.
Believe that you will overcome this no matter what. I'm sure you'll think of a brilliant plan.
Beatrice getting vamped up for October.
Yeah. Therefore, you mustn't give up and you mustn't stop thinking.
You're right. I understand. Only I can overcome this hardship.
That is correct. Didn't Kenzo entrust you with the job of overcoming these challenges? Kenzo acknowledged that you were worthy of that responsibility.
Father.
Oh!
Father?
Teacher and Ronove will think of a move. Of course, I will think as well. However, even that we cannot do without permission from our master, from you, so at the very least, don't abandon your will to fight. Don't give up.
I understand. I understand. But I'm already all tired out. And I can't stand this headache. Why is it that I'm crying here, all alone in this frigid study? Why? Why isn't my husband here for me now?
Back when dinner ended, Kraus claimed to be dizzy and went to bed early. Of course, he had done this to get enough rest to ready himself for the long day ahead. But to Natsuhi right now, it felt as though he'd just gone straight to sleep and pushed the entire burden on her. However, complaining about such a thing would mean her failure as a wife. Isn't it a good wife's duty to work hard and put family first, even when her husband is resting? Filled with regret even at her anger towards her husband, unable to determine at whom she should be angry, Natsuhi continued to sob. If only Kenzo could just speak to her kindly at times like this. Beato searched for him, but Kenzo had been nowhere to be seen in the study for some time now. Perhaps Natsuhi had noticed this as well. Though she bragged that fighting alone and supporting from behind was the responsibility of a good wife, without anyone to tell her that this really was necessary, she was now so frail that she couldn't even stop her own tears. Just as Beato was trying to think of words to console Natsuhi, Virgilia tapped her lightly on the shoulder. Sometimes, when words of consolation don't come from the mouth of the right person, they can do more harm than good. So, Virgilia silently told Beato that remaining silent was the best course of action for now.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. I know I'm an outsider, but I wonder if you'd let me speak.
Gop, please restrain yourself for the time being. No, in this room, there's no distinction between outsiders, guests, and the rest of us. You may speak.
Thank you. Ronove said it himself a while ago. This is mating shogi, which yawns the defensive. How do you lose in mating shogi?
Mating prep?
It's when your king is checkmated, right? That goes without saying, and the opponent has no king. Therefore, all Natsuhi can do is have her king run away constantly.
I see. So you're thinking of that move. Has that time already come?
What do you mean? Do you mean there's some sort of move remaining to us?
It's what you proposed in the very beginning, about how to hide Goldsmith's dares. I'm trying to say the time's come for us to use that.
You mean...
Oh, that's Virgilia.
Yeah.
Their voices are very similar, I've noticed. I did similar voices
I-
for Virgilia and Natsuhi.
I was gonna say it's one of them things. We just have limited range
Yeah.
as men.
You mean having him go missing?
There's a little bit of difference to them, but not too much.
You mean to make that move right now during the family conference? That's too dangerous.
Once they had successfully resolved all of their problems, they would have to lay Kenzo to rest. And the best way to do that was to make him disappear. Shove him in the furnace. One day, Kenzo would go out into the forest and never return. They wouldn't be able to find him no matter how much they searched, and so he would be declared missing.
You said it yourself a second ago, Riche. You can't catch a mouse that's escaped into a field. And you can't catch a goldsmith who's disappeared into the forest.
You plan for us to talk our way out of this like that? To use such a move now, when the suspicion against us is greatest, would be no better than committing suicide.
Oh, they will probably suspect it. Such a move would most certainly lead to mistrust. However, even if they were to set foot in this study, they would find nothing to aid them. It would never again be possible for them to keep Kinzo-sama pinned down. And no matter how much they suspected his death, they would be unable to prove it.
Forget about a mere 36 hours. You'd be able to protect Kinzo's secret forever that way, right? Of course, we'll also have to bear an appropriate risk. If you make that move, you may be able to overcome this particular challenge, but we cannot even guess at how much prestige you might lose for it. Even so, it's a move that will certainly overcome our current challenge. Of course, you'll then have to face an even greater suspicion, but you won't die.
Yes. That may be true, but
During the Great Kanto earthquake, the Ushinomiya family should have died. However, the Maginius Goldsmiths revived it so splendidly that it's not something you desire to protect. So this time it is up to you and your husband, the new head and his wife, to do the same.
Oh, is that how you intend to stir her up?
I'm not stirring her up. I'm just asking if she's prepared to be the wife of the head. Are you prepared to protect the Ushinomiya family, even if you end up getting dragged through the dirt to do it?
I am prepared.
Then now is the time. If you can survive by being dragged through the dirt, then crawl with all your might. You'll inch your way through this world of suffering, and eventually you'll restore that glory. I, Cap, the 33rd in rank, promise you this. Cap. The fact that I came to play at a time like this must be a sign from the gods of happenstance. I'll keep this promise, Ushinomiya Natsuhi. I require nothing in return. Riche, the one who serves you, has already paid me plenty in advance.
Gop may have seemed irresponsible, but she actually possessed a strong sense of duty. She was the kind of person who just couldn't leave someone in trouble alone.
A payment in advance? Oh, when did I do that? I have no memory of such a thing. Oh, I just mean those magical items you couldn't remember where you put. I made off with quite a few of them. What? So that was your doing after all. Give them back. Give back my illusionary silver crystal and moonstick.
Not the moonstick.
Mm-hmm. I still haven't played around by sticking them together yet. Hey, I have that.
Nope. Nothing.
Yeah. So that's the sort of magic and strategy you can expect from me. I can hide goldsmiths away in the world where no one will be able to find him. Let me know the instant you need that magic. Until then, feel free to think of another safer plan.
True. Having alternatives is beneficial for your peace of mind. And without that, you'll never think up a brilliant plan.
Natsuhi-sama, we have quite some time remaining us tonight. Let's leave Gap's strategy as a final trump card and iron out a plan of our own for now. Please give us permission. And please give us the trust, magical power, and absolute conviction we'll need to succeed without fail.
If you have faith, I will make your dreams come true. If you succumb to doubt, then I will make those nightmares come true. You must build your own future.
Kinzo would disappear. And right in the middle of this family conference, such a move truly would be a last resort. Burying this final trump card in her heart, Natsuhi decided that she would grope around for a different plan until the last second. After all, this long, long night has only just begun. Bernkastel in her piece had just as long to prepare as Natsuhi did.
Yeah. I take a sippy.
Gouge the foot and kill. And that completes it.
I see. So that really was what gouge meant. Once again, my reasoning was correct.
The feel of it this time was clearly different from the previous times, as though some sort of device had activated, huh? However, as far as a quick glance could tell, there was no dramatic change, such as an entrance or some sort of opening. Okay, so they're at a thing that they can manipulate. Apparently, they would need to do just a little more before they could find it. You're incredible. Yeah, ego stroking.
That's what I was thinking.
If we really do find the gold, we'll have to split it together.
Enjoying the intellectual stimulation is enough for me. The only thing I like is solving riddles. The only reward I need is proof that I was right.
She shrugged it off, implying that just seeing the gold would be enough. Then she crouched down, peering fixedly at the lock mechanism. Lock mechanism? It's definitely no mistake to say this girl really loves solving riddles. For her, treasure hunting is all about the delicious process of exposing secrets. Why do you describe it that way?
Oh, you know exactly why.
I know exactly why, and it makes me uncomfortable. So she has no interest whatsoever in getting the treasure for herself and becoming a billionaire.
That face is crazy. it's the like eyelids slightly shut for me.
I see. Pretty cocky of you, setting up a device like this. The mistake you all made was letting me on this island in the first place. Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place, this level of reasoning is possible for Furudo Erika. What do you think, everyone?
As she said this to the now exposed contraption, she grinned. Her smile was triumphant, but it was more fully characterized by the small bit of unpleasant disdain contained within. After solving the riddle, she was probably reveling in the pleasure of having won against the one who had proposed it, and she enjoyed her ability to scoff at this person now.
If we find the gold now, the successor won't be Kraus-san, but you.
Well, I wonder.
Isn't Kraus-san kind of arrogant? You might even call him a braggart. It'd be pretty amusing to see him lose both the gold and his position as the successor to his nephew in the course of a single night, won't it?
Erika was still crouched down as she spoke, her back to Battler as she toyed around with the device.
Gosh, Golden Sneer out of nowhere. Haven't heard this in a minute.
Jessica-san was her name, right? The girl who talked back to me?
Yeah.
She really was acting big about her father being the successor. When she wakes up tomorrow and learns that you've inherited all the gold, and that her father is no longer the successor, I wonder what kind of expression she'll have on her face.
I've got no intention of keeping that 20 billion to myself. Well, if I even got 10%, that'd be as much as I could handle. We can split the rest fairly amongst the family. I'm even less interested in being the successor. I'd be glad to let Uncle Kraus deal with that.
Will you really be able to settle things that easily in the end? Well, rather than trying to make guesses about that, I imagine it'll be more fun to guess the expression Jessica-san wears tomorrow. And what kind of sad excuses she'll try to make.
Hey!
Your witch is showing, Erika. You really do have a nasty personality.
Is this it? I can't remember. Is this the time? Is this when the drop happens?
Oh no, I'm afraid.
I don't remember when it is. It's been a while.
Oh? Couldn't you reason that out from the time you learned that I like solving riddles?
Yeah. Here we go.
It's here.
I knew she says it a
It's
lot.
here.
I can't apologize. I'm only 3. I'm just reading the script.
We're just reading what's given to us, guys.
Exactly.
I'm an intellectual rapist who enjoys exposing things people try to hide, get it? The same thing goes for solving the epitaph's riddle.
Oh, okay, Battler, you're not taken aback by
It's
that at all.
1986.
Okay.
It's 1986. We're
I'll bet you wanted to expose the gold grandfather worked so hard to hide.
Yes, that was my goal at first.
yeah.
The fact that this is Bernkastel. This is her.
Mm-hmm.
She's describing herself that way. She's.
But it changed partway through.
Partway through. Changed to what?
Is this her? No, this is Golden Sneer still, right?
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is called Golden Sneer in parentheses Erika's malice. Anyway.
I mean, Jessica-san. She butted in on my reasoning, contaminating that pure and noble time. Ever since then, I've been trying to solve the epitaph so I could teach that Jessica a lesson.
Are you serious?
I'll make all opponents surrender, no matter who they are. That is my sole pleasure. Do you still need me to reason it out for you?
There it is.
Ushiomiya Jessica irritated me. That's why I wanted to put her in her place and decided to solve the epitaph. That's what led to the emotions I hold now. Can you reason out what those emotions are?
This time, I turned my back on her in earnest. Did I get a bit too excited by this riddle solving game, letting her drive me on and do something terrible? Well, I wouldn't call it terrible, Battler. I'd say it's more colored by her intentions that makes it terrible. But
True. I mean, like, he's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, no,
And
you-
honestly, she
you-
was gonna do this anyway.
you have no malice in your intention to do it. It's more so only terrible because she has malice in her intentions to do it. That's right. It should have been possible to reason this out. If the riddle is solved, the relatives will probably freak out about who the successor should be. Dad and some others will probably push for me, the discoverer, to be the successor, and some relatives will not be thrilled with that prospect, will probably oppose them. Despite how adamantly Erika affirmed it, it isn't written anywhere that the one who solves the riddle of the epitaph becomes the successor. Because of this, it'll lead to a fight between those who acknowledge that theory and those who don't. If I reason out what'll happen next, as Erika did, it'll probably lead to a messy fight between Uncle Kraus and the rest of the relatives. Now that I've solved the riddle, will Jessica admire me or curse me? I don't want to think about that now. Erika was still mumbling. Apparently, she had already started trying to reason it out. As I began to feel very bad, I vaguely gazed out into the black night. At that time, I looked at a dim outdoor light and saw the silhouette of a person in front of it. I thought I must be seeing things. After all, it was unthinkable that someone could have been standing there this whole time, pounded upon by the rain without even an umbrella. Maria. However, the silhouette didn't move an inch. And maybe... No, it couldn't be. It was looking at me. And it was... Grandfather? Yup.
What?
Grandfather. At that moment, I understood. Grandfather's probably been watching us solve the riddle this whole time. And he watched as we spectacularly solved the whole thing. Without a doubt, there was a faint smile on Grandfather's face. Grandfather, who had never worn anything except moody and frightening expressions, looked me in the eye and smiled at me for the first time. Almost as though he was saying, "How impudent." Or else, "I never thought it would be you." However, this is still the result that Grandfather's epitaph chose. Almost like a roulette. So I'm sure he accepted that result. In the end, he grinned at me one more time. Of course, he didn't use words. His smile seemed to be wordlessly saying, "Well done." I didn't know how I should respond. I couldn't do anything but stand there in shock, ignoring Erika as she crouched down, mumbling with her back towards me. Just imagining this entire thing happening right now where Battler's completely ignoring her is really funny to me.
I'm trying to imagine what she would be yapping about.
Then, Grandfather stretched a hand out from the folds of his cloak and pointed at something. When I looked in that direction, there was... the thing he was pointing at was probably the signpost to the Golden Land. Go. I'm sure Grandfather said that one word. I nodded to show that I understood. After watching that, Grandfather nodded back, satisfied. Then, with a spin of his cloak, he disappeared, seeming to melt into the darkness. The expression on his face at the end was a smile that was, for the first time, truly satisfied.
Are you listening, Battler-san? Did you hear my reasoning?
I found it. That's the signpost to the Golden Land.
I like how he's actually using the pointing sprite. It's really funny.
Huh? It's facing a different direction than it used to. I see. So it means go that way. You've got some pretty good powers of observation.
Grandfather told me about it.
Huh? Kinzo-san? Where is he?
I'm going. Let's have a look at what you're showing us. Just what is this Golden Land? We started to walk. The entrance to the Golden Land was right there.
So, my epitaph has finally been solved. And it was Battler who did it. Wonderful. Couldn't be better. Oh, yeah. When I think about it, I was also ahead that no one saw coming. How amusing that the one to succeed me is just as surprising. I have no more regrets in life. Beatrice, I am coming to join you, along with a present, the miracle chosen by my epitaph.
Battler, of all people. That Battler.
At the very, very end of my life, I have seen a true miracle. Beatrice! I've won this bet!
It'd be really funny if Kenzo just appeared in Witch's Tea Party Place room now. With
He just pops
Lambdadelta
out.
and Burn. And Battler.
True.
I've made it.
He's like, is this it? No.
There's more small women than I thought there would be.
Yeah. Or actually, it'd probably be,
You broke Beatrice!
Yeah. Yahoo! Woohoo!
Except for its non-corrosive properties, there's no practical way to turn gold into money. I imagine it'd take a lot of work to exchange all of this for cash.
At the end of a crude underground tunnel, in a VIP room so beautiful it seemed improper, was a pile of gold so large that there could be no doubting its 20 billion yen worth. Erika was calm, but Battler couldn't suppress his excitement. As for which of the two was the correct reaction to show after seeing a mountain of gold, only those who saw the scene with their own eyes could say for sure. In this day and age, it's said that an average salaryman earns about 200 million yen in wages over his life. And this is 20 billion yen worth of gold. With even 1/100th of this mountain of gold, a single human could live their entire life without working. What is labor? Isn't it the very point of a human's life, since a person who doesn't work cannot eat? If so, then 200 million yen is enough to make a single person's life complete. This would account for the labors of 100 humans, no, a single human life 100 times over. Of course, if you still wanted to work, you could. Any money you gained as a result could be used to play with. After all, you would already have enough money to live for your entire life. No, for eternity. No, wait. I mustn't keep it all to myself. I can split it up among 100 people. If I could create a world where a full 100 humans wouldn't have to work for their whole lives, just what kind of world would that be? Yeah, there's no doubt at all. This is the Golden Land.
There you go. Burn Battler magnificently discovered the gold. Congrats. I had her hide the more central parts of it, but what's wrong with being just a little mean, right?
Because you're being mean, and that's mean.
and I hate you. Tell me everything now. Sure, do as much as you like. I'm not interested in the micro details about what kind of riddle it was or whatever kind of answer it had. The important thing is that as a result, 10 tons of gold were discovered. The gold was discovered in the third game as well by Aunt Ava, and Rosa also witnessed it. However, 2 of them hadn't spoken of the gold's discovery to anyone. In other words, there was a chance that the gold's discovery was a cat box truth kept between the 2 of them. More specifically, it was possible the gold didn't exist and was just an illusion. However, I have finally found it. The cat box has been opened.
It'd be a waste of time to do that repeated game, so I'll give you a little bonus. This mountain of gold is real. All of the ingots piled up here are real, pure gold. There are absolutely no tricks such as replicas or fakes.
Okay, got it. I'll accept that this gold exists. However, there are some things I can't accept.
Of course. You met with him, didn't you?
Well, that can be very easily explained away because you responded to Erika with, Grandpa told me about it, which could have been literally years ago when he told you about it and you just suddenly remembered it.
With Kinzo.
Even though Kinzo's supposedly an illusion, you met with him just a second ago, right? I guess that really was magic, wasn't it?
Okay, sorry, I really have to use the bathroom, and I've been trying to hold it this entire
Oh my
time so we could get to
gosh.
an end point, but I can't hold it anymore, brother. So I gotta go for just like 30 seconds. I'll be back.
That's fine. We will talk. I am also going to take this opportunity to take a drink, though, first. So, yeah. Audience, one moment. Sorry. Okay. We're about wrapped up with this chapter anyway. There's one more song after this one, which this is Happiness of Marionette. So, we're getting a lot of non-murder mysteries, which with this, honestly, I mean, there's murder mysteries abound eventually, especially when the Twilights kick off. But, we're finally delving into the mysteries that have been present throughout all the game boards, for the most part. Like the Epitaph and the Gold, and we haven't really gotten into the Who Am I just yet. But, you know, we're getting through all those mysteries. I'm trying to think what else is going to be... I mean, these 2 weren't kidding when they said, oh, we're going to give hints. You just got to pay attention. Because they really do be dropping big ol' hints. But, I mean, you know how it is. Can't say much. Like, it may not seem like it. If you don't know the answers, it may not seem like they're dropping big hints. It might just be like, what is this even? It's just, I don't know what's happening. But especially with the Epitaph stuff, they're dropping huge hints, huge bombas. Tiny bombs, actually. Several tiny bombs. But, but yeah. I'm wondering about how far along we are in episode 5 here. I mean, I know a lot of crazy stuff happens towards the end. But I'm not sure how long we are. Welcome back. Oh, whoops.
Goodness. I feel a lot better.
Good. Not much was going on. I was just talking about, I don't know how much we have left of episode 5. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna end. So I don't know when we're. I mean, none of the murders have even started yet.
True.
So
I was just
at least
looking.
get to those.
My new summary chapter thingy indicates that we're like halfway through, and I'm like, that's crazy. There's no
Yeah.
way. So I don't know.
Ridiculous.
I know.
I didn't exchange any words with Grandfather. I only felt as though Grandfather and I had exchanged words. Give it a rest. The same move won't work again.
In that case, your blue truth, if you please.
I was probably in an excited state after solving the Epitaph's riddle. Then I mistook something for Grandfather. For example, maybe there was some kind of sheet or cover that had gotten caught in a dark grove of trees, which looked like Grandfather wearing a pitch-black cloak. As a result, I mistakenly thought that I'd had some sort of conversation with Grandfather. For example, maybe there was some kind of sheet or cover that had gotten caught in a dark grove of trees, which looked like Grandfather wearing a pitch-black cloak. As a result, I mistakenly thought that I'd had some sort of conversation with Grandfather. For example, maybe there was some kind of sheet or cover that had gotten caught in a dark grove of trees, which looked like Grandfather wearing a pitch-black cloak.
Blue truth.
Blue truth.
Oh, that's you. Haha.
Valid. Well, I did say the exact same thing in blue.
So, did it work? Where's your counter with the red truth?
I have none. At least, not now, okay?
Are we gonna get Battler Triss now?
True.
The me, who'd let out a strange yell in front of the gold mountain, was finally starting to regain his cool. Now that we found it, there's no covering it up. I vaguely considered keeping this discovery a secret. However, Erika wanted to prove that her own reasoning was correct by announcing this to everyone. Kill her. They're making me say it?
Your turn.
Damn it. She really is an intellectual rapist. Just as she says. The puzzle-solving game is what's important to her. And she doesn't intend to take any responsibility for what happens after the riddle is solved. A riddle is sort of like a lock. Locks exist to be locked. And they're only significant when they're locked. Therefore, it ought to be essential to have some goal in mind when exposing such a thing. However, to this girl, the act of exposing is itself her final goal, and she has no intention of taking responsibility for anything that happens later. Maybe the truth storm to hit Rokkenjima isn't the typhoon, but her.
Deep blue jeer. It's back.
She won't keep this discovery secret. She'll definitely announce it so she can brag about her success. Then, she'll call a real storm down upon this island. I won't be able to keep this covered up. In that case, there's nothing to do but announce this fact fairly to all, or you could kill her. Just saying. Could just kill her. I don't know, man. I can't imagine what'll happen after that. As she grinned, Erika muttered to herself. She must have been anticipating the uproar that the relatives would soon bring about. To her, merely imagining that was far sweeter than 20 billion yen in gold.
Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place. This level of reasoning is possible for Furudo Erika.
Have I told you that, like, you know how Steam has little banners for the games, right? Like above the play button when you click on them. And for questions arc, it's Beatrice who's on that banner. For answers arc, it's Erika.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What do you think, everyone?
If you couldn't tell, by the way, that's like her little catchphrase. Okay. I thought we were getting close.
I agree with you, Erika. This is gonna be funny, I think.
What was
But
it?
I'm not funny in the intellectual rapist kind of way.
Yeah. I when I went and looked at the song for her, the Deep Blue Jeer, and I went to the comments, or maybe it was in the Great Detective Knows. Either way, it was one of her themes. And the comments, all of them were like, even this level of bop is possible for the artist. What do you think, everyone? I liked it.
Oh.
But anyway, that's where we will call it, I feel like. We were able to get through a few chapters. Oh, let me tell you. That chapter was called...
The Intellectual Retina.
Those Who Reach It.
Ah, okay.
And I will go ahead and say the next one is called The Frantic Golden Drama.
Oh, great.
I mean, that's probably good enough. A lot to leave off with and a lot to think about. And fingers crossed, depending on schedules, this Sunday we'll be able to do a bit more than we usually do. Although I think this was a good one. This was a decent one.
This was a good one.
Yeah. But, yeah. Bye.
Any announcements like we normally have, or are we just good?
I'm trying to think. I know that we were unable to do Dark Souls this week, but that's because my mouse broke.
Dang.
So I know
saw your
everything keeps
community
breaking.
post for it, and I was like, oh, because I hadn't talked
Everything
to
keeps
you
breaking.
since last stream, and so I was like, oh no, more things are breaking.
My washer broke. Now my mouse broke. So I got a new one. Obviously, you can hear my clicking. But I don't know. So let's see. Next thing up, we actually have a short coming out tomorrow at some point. I can't remember what time, but it's gonna be a Dark Souls short as a payoff for Tuesday missing. It's a good one. I made it myself. What else? What else? I think the next thing after that's just gonna be Sunday Umineko, Monday Terraria, and then hopefully, if the world doesn't explode again, Tuesday Dark Souls, Wednesday podcast, and next week Umineko again.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Well, any final words to the people before we send it off?
Just by the mere existence of that intellectual